original, we the first to do it. And all these other nations are just our children. Even the pale skin was made in our image.
Yeah, Islam, Islam, Islam. What's going on, everybody? Y'all are tuned in to the Think Tank Show right here at TV 33 WHPR, which is the best station in the nation. Uh, it is owned, operated, facilitated by our own people. People that look like me and you. Ain't that something? Yeah, well, everybody always have something to say about what we not doing as a people, and they just don't know. I mean, ignorance is ignorance. When people just don't know, they just don't know. I mean, all you got to do is just educate them. Don't look down on people because they're ignorant. Uh, it's just a lack of knowledge, not lack of understanding, lack of knowing what is a fact. But I'm your host, Brother Bay of the Think Tank Show, and it's just me, y'all. My sister Katrina Muhammad. I want to send our co-host. I want to send my assalamu alaikums and greetings out to her, and I want to send out my salutations to everybody, whether it's Islam, assalamu alaikum, shalom, what up, doe, what it do. It don't matter. We all family here on the Think Tank Show, and today we're gonna be talking about someone that a lot of people don't have knowledge of, a lot of people don't know about, but it's a lot of people that do know about him and don't know that there's a special day coming up for this particular angel to the Moors who was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. And his name is none other than Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He was born in the state of North Carolina in the year 1886. He was born with the name Timothy Drew, and we later know him as Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And he is an angel to us, the Moorish Americans. He was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. And he brought us our nationality. He brought us our heritage. See, a lot of people got to understand that these were the things that we were stripped from through the transatlantic slave trade. We were stripped from our nationality. We were stripped from our religion. We were stripped from our creed and our culture. People who are slaves and they have these things, you can't, well, people who are still acquainted and linked up with their nationality and their birthright and their heritage and their religion, and they are in some type of servitude, they're not slaves. You can't be a slave until you're stripped from everything. If you don't know who you are, where you come from, your heritage, your name, then you become a slave. Whether you have knowledge of self or I'm gonna reiterate this. Whether you think you are conscious, if you don't honor the creed and principles of your forefathers and foremothers, you still are a slave. Well, how does it say? It says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God has given thee. Well, when you don't do these things and you're not honoring the creed and principles of your forefathers and foremothers and the religious system and spiritual systems of your ancient forefathers and foremothers and their names, etc., you are cutting off the lineage, the lifeline. So your days is not long upon this earthland because you are being somebody that you're not. You're being somebody that you was taught to be. You was being somebody you was made to be. And when you cling to names that dilute to slavery, it doesn't do anything but further place you into servitude. Slavery has metamorphed. It has transmuted. It has formed into a whole nother system. The slavery we had in 1790 and 1830 is not the slavery we have today. The slavery that we have today is a slave to sin. We are slaves to sin. And when you cling to names that dilute to slavery, like nigger, pimp, gangster, player, thug, You know, these things are not of a divine essence. Words have energy to them. Words are things. Words have power to move, to create, and to destroy. And when you proudly say that you are a nigga, you proudly say that you are something that comes from the slave era. This is someone who was made into something. And that something that you was made into is the very reason why we run around today and we honor not the creed and principles of our forefathers and foremothers. And our days are not long, meaning from our culture, our creed, and our principles of our ancient and divine foremothers and forefathers. So, as us, who, you know, the Moors, a lot of people say that being a Moor or being a Moorish American is being an Arab. That couldn't be further from the truth. We are the same people that went into Europe in 711. Well, we actually went up in Europe before then, but the longest run that we had as far as rulership was from 711 to 1492. We was in Spain, Portugal, France, Ireland, England. We was all in Europe. And we educated. We gave them universities. We paved streets. We put street lights out there. Gave them medicine, art, mathematics. These are the things that we introduced Europe to. And when you say Moors and you think that a Moor is an Arab, or that only way you can be a Moor is if you're an Arab, this is also a degree of slavery because it's false education appearing real. When you look at the old books, the old literature that was written about the Moors in the 1700s and the 1800s and the early 1900s, they refer to us according to who we are, Moors. But later today, in contemporary books, they say Arab or Muslim or Muslim. And this can be misleading to those who don't actually know who the Moors are or were at the time from 711 AD all the way up until 1492, when we civilized that particular part of the world, which we know today to be Europe. So when we allowed ourselves to sin and we allowed ourselves to debase our own self, we debased ourselves through sin and disobedience, we were placed into something called chattel slavery. And that chattel slavery was right here in the United States of America. And it lasted for a very long time. Many people think that it lasted from 1492 all the way up until present day. And you have the teachings of Noble Drew Ali that teaches us that we suffer slavery through 1776 all the way up until 1865. And people don't understand the science behind that, because we're talking about under the auspices or the control of the United States of America. Mind you, in 1492, this was not the United States of America. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't teach us that we were slaves from 1492 up until 1865. He does not teach us that. He was a lawman. He wasn't on one side of the law or the other side of the law. He was right in the middle of the law. And he stood on the law. And he wanted us to understand that everything that we teach, we propagate. It has to be according to the law. It has to be accurate. We are members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And one of the key words within that title of our address is science. And this particular science that we teach, we want to be right and exact. We don't want to propagate something that is not true. We don't want people to understand, or we don't want people to think that just because you call yourself colored, Negro, pimp, coon, shine, Afro-American, that this is what you are. However, I will say, as a man or a woman thinketh, that is a fact. Because you're only going to act what your mind dictates for you to act. If you think it, you're going to act it. So if you think you're a pimp, you're going to act like a pimp. If you think you're a Negro, you're going to act like a Negro. If you think you're a nigga, you're going to act like one. Sisters, you know the words out there that is used derogatory towards y'all. And if you think you that, you're going to act like that as a man or a woman thinketh. But that doesn't make the essence of you that fact. You are a spirit and a part of Allah or God. You're one. Jesus said, what I am, you are, and what I have done, you shall do or must do. This is how we're going to get through the kingdom of heaven, by acting and emulating and patterning our lives after that particular great spirit that we know today to be Jesus. However, there's others that came to us as well. We have Abraham, we have Moses, we have Muhammad, we have Confucius, we have Buddha. And now we have someone that a lot of you is being introduced to today or recently, and his name is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And he brought us our heritage, our lost estate, our nationality. He taught us that we're not Negroes, we're not color folks, we're not Ethiopians, black people. And today, many of us say Afro-American. Why is it that everybody else's nationality stays the same, but the people who is of this olive hue, this dark complexion that I have, this olive, why do our nationality change so much? We have went from being colored, Negro, black, Afro-American, African-American. But when you look at people that's Chinese, Japanese, Italian, French, Portuguese, German, Russian, their nationality hasn't changed. But ours have. And that's because it's not truth. Truth don't change nor pass away. And this was the reason why our brothers and sisters who went through the transatlantic slave trade prayed and cried for an angel, for a helper, for a redeemer. And he came in many lights. And in this particular present time, the Moors, the members of the Moor Science Temple of America, we know this particular angel to be Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose birthday is January the 8th. This Monday, there's going to be celebrations all over this country where we're going to be observing this great brother's birth. You're going to have brothers and sisters down at the Rooster Tail at downtown Detroit from 6 to 10 p.m. You're going to have members of the Temple 25, Temple number 4, Temple 43, you know, and the list goes on. Temple 20, Temple 19, etc., etc., etc. And the temple that I am a member of, which is subordinate Temple number 5, we're also going to be celebrating our beloved brother, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, right at Nandi's Knowledge Cafe, which is 71 Oakman Boulevard, Highland Park, Michigan, from 7 p.m. to midnight. Brothers and sisters that's at others celebratory events that may be over sooner than ours, you're more than welcome to come. The mission, free. Just be there. Food, music, dancing. You know, we're going to have meeting period from 7 to 9. Then from there, we're going to turn it over and we're just going to have a grand occasion, a grand time. But what is it about Prophet Noble Drew Ali that makes him so unique? That makes him, or I'm going to say it this way. It was something about the message that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought that allowed or motivated people who wrote books in the so-called education system to leave him out of this particular history here in the United States of America. What was that message? Some of the things that Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to quote verbatim, but any Moors out there that's watching us on Facebook Live, anybody that's watching us on Comcast 91, TV 33, the Roku box, Google TV, Amazon TV, etc., you can call in and you can say your piece. You can say what you want to say within the realm of the FCC rules, because we are actually on live television. You can call in because this is a live broadcast at 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351 and 313-868-4336. And eventually we'll get the numbers on the bottom of the screen so you'll be able to see it on television. But for those of you who are watching this on Facebook Live, the numbers is connected to the introduction of this particular broadcast on Facebook Live. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a soldier. He was an angel. He was somebody who wanted to reintroduce us back to the only savior of the world, and that's called love, because God is love. Allah is love, and love is God. Love is Allah. And when we look at giving the blessing to be given someone that's going to re-educate us and reintroduce us back to ourselves, that's a blessing within itself. Why Moorish American? Why not Black American? Why not Afro American? Why not Coon and Shine? Because these names was given to people who came through slavery. And when you allow people who enslaved you to give you a nationality, or you just make up something or cling to something that is not inherently yours from the ancient forefathers and foremothers, you're not being yourself. And those are some of the things that, you know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali wanted us to do. He wanted us to be ourselves. He wanted us to know thyself. He wanted us to understand that as it is above, it is below. And for us as a people to not honor our own customs, our own forefathers and foremothers, and to cling to things that was forced upon us, that was given to us through the transatlantic slave trade. And, you know, I love my brothers and sisters in the church. I love my brothers and sisters that's Jehovah's Witnesses, that practice Judaism, Hebrew Israelites, Nation of Islam. I love all my brothers and sisters, or at least I'm learning to love them. What I need you to understand is that when we look at our differences in our religion affiliation, these are not the things that we should allow to keep us separated as a people. When we allow these things to keep us separated as a people, we're only practicing what is called Willie Lynch, division and separation. I have family members that are Christians, and they invited me over for Christmas, and I went. I can admit I'm a little greedy. As long as it ain't no pork, 9 times out of 10, I'm coming to eat. New Year's, Thanksgiving, all that. If my family calls, I'm there. And that's because I try to show solidarity. And right at the Rooster Tail Hotel, if I have that wrong, y'all can call in and let me know. Right there, Monday from 6 to 10, you can go down there and you can enjoy yourself and see how the Moors do. You can come down to Nani's Nallis Cafe at 71 Oakland Boulevard in Highland Park, Michigan, and see how we do. Feel our spirit, feel our energy, our aura, and you will understand that is one of the things that I need people to understand is that the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple of America is for all those who love Jesus. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America is for all those who love Jesus. The teachings in there is for all those who love Jesus. He didn't come to take you away from Jesus. He wanted to bring you a little bit closer to Jesus. Your Jesus, and not the one that has the pale skin and the green eyes or the blue eyes on your wall with the long stringy hair looking like someone who come out the medieval time. We're not talking about that image. That's not Jesus. That is an image that was painted and an image that was sanctioned to be portrayed to be something that it wasn't. If you pray to Jesus and you can look on a wall and someone say, "Who is that?" and you say that's Jesus, then that's your image of who you are, who it is you're praying to. And this is something that Noble Drew Ali wanted to get us to understand, that Jesus was your brother. He looked like you and me. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be afraid from. We got a caller. We're going to take this call. Caller, you're on the air with the Think Tank Show. Would you please state your name and what city you're calling from?
Islam. This is Brother Kendrick Seal out of Detroit, Michigan.
Islam, brother Kendrick Hill. How you doing, brother?
All is well.
Praise Allah. Did I get that right? Where they gonna be at downtown?
Yes, sir.
Give us a little bit more information on that.
Well, yes, like you said, it's at the Rooster Tail from 6 to 10, Monday, on the Prophet's Birthright Day. Also, I will be performing live with a live band.
Oh, you gonna be performing?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Hey, y'all know y'all got to get down there to the Rooster Tail to watch Brother Kendrick Hill perform live. Y'all know he got 2 Morris CDs out. What's the name of those CDs, brother?
The Seventh Sign and the Soldier of the Drew.
Soldier of Drew and what else? The Seventh Sign. The Seventh Sign and Soldier of Drew. Where can they get that beautiful CD from, brother?
Well, it's available online digitally at all digital retailers.
So they can get it on they can get it digitally at all digital retailers, and that's the Soldier of Drew and the Seventh Sign, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They can also stream it on Tidal, on Spotify.
Okay.
And you can get physical copies from the temples or at More Herbs, located on West 7 Mile.
Located on West 7 Mile?
Yeah, West 7 Mile, I believe, is the street of St. Mary's.
Okay. And so they can also purchase the DVD from Temple 25?
Yes, sir. Temple 25 and Temple number 4.
Temple number 4. Where are these temples located, brother?
Temple 25 is located on Grand River, and Temple number 4 is located on 15520 Harper Avenue.
Okay. Did you have anything that you wanted to contribute to this broadcast today about Prophet Noble Drew Ali?
I most certainly did.
Okay. Go ahead. You got the floor, brother.
I just wanted to say that if people knew how important nationality really was,
or
they
is,
will understand
was or
where
is
wars were coming from.
Can I cut you off for a minute? You said was, or did you mean is?
Well, if I said was, I meant is.
we having a little Sunday school here. You know how Moors do in Sunday school. You know we want to break it down, dissect it, and mean what you say and say what you mean.
No doubt. One stand to be corrected.
Right. Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off. Well, yes, I did, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, because we are taught that salvation is personal.
Salvation is personal.
So if you want to practice whatever you practice, and go right ahead, but you should really look into nationality.
The thing what brothers and sisters need to understand about the reason why it was important for Prophet Noble Drew Ali to bring us our nationality is, I think, equivalent to the reason why it was even more so important for the Europeans who were settlers over here in this country to take it from you, to deprive you of that. If it was not important, they would not have took your nationality. They would not have took your creed. They would not have took your religious system, your spiritual systems. They would not have took those things. Not only did they take them, and some say we gave up our birthright to gratify our lower self, and I have no argument with that. But I want to speak in common terms, and I want people to understand that, yes, the things that through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery because they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers and foremothers. Let's not get it twisted, because if you really want the truth of the matter is that the Europeans were in slavery before we was in slavery, and guess who they was in slavery to? So when you actually look at that, we also understand what karma is. What goes around comes around. What you throw out there got to come back to the source from where it come from, and that's yourself. So when you do evil, you can best believe the evil is going to return you. Just like if you do good, evil is good is going to return you. And like they say, when you do good to somebody, it's going to come back to you tenfold. We're the same with evil. So we had to pay a price as well because we honor not the creed and principles of our forefathers and foremothers. And what was that? That is the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So when we strayed away from that and we start demonstrating hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms, it has to come back from the source in which it come from. And when we put it out there, it has to come back to you. And it came back to us in a nation. And as a nation of people, we suffered slavery because we didn't honor the principles of our forefathers and foremothers, which was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And we strayed after gods of Europe of whom we knew nothing. We strayed after things that was not belong to us. And when you stray after things that don't belong to you as a people, as a nation, as a tribe, as an entity, you're clinging on to things that don't belong to you, and you're not honoring your mothers and fathers. So your days is not long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God has given thee, because you have strayed away from that, and you're no longer yourself. You're not in your life. You're in somebody else's life. Some people say it will be the Matrix. So Noble Drew Ali came to restore us and give us back our nationality, our creed and principles, because it was important for them to take it. That means it has substance. It has reason. And that was the reason for him to give it back to you. Because once you look into who you are as a Moorish American Muslim, then you know that you're not really away from home. You at home. It's somebody else that's 3,000 miles away from home. Because the United States of America, and what we know to be, or the Americas, the Western Hemisphere, was not something that was strange to us as a people, as a nation, because it was inhabited by brothers and sisters that had dark olive complective skin. We call them today Native Americans or Indians. Well, all the phenotypes, the physical appearance of these particular people was not the same across this country or across this hemisphere. Some down in South America, Central America, the Atlantis Islands, etc., they were darker than some that was up in what we know today to be Canada or Michigan or Montana, etc., because of the climate in which they lived in. But we got to understand that those particular indigenous aboriginals of this Western Hemisphere is our brothers and sisters. And this was nothing that was new to us. It was actually new to them. They, the ones, didn't know about this particular heaven that we had created for ourselves in this particular hemisphere, with the pyramids, you know, the beautiful tombs and the mounds and the artifacts and things like that that we had over here that was amazing to them when they got here. So when you take someone away from their nationality, their creed and their principle, they can't claim what's theirs because they don't know what's theirs. Because if they knew what was theirs, the first thing that they would be coming to get is their nationality, their spiritual system, their religious system, their creed, and their ancient fathers and mothers' principles. They would come back and they would get that. And this was the thing that Noble Drew Ali was coming to get us. And he was telling us that I have to teach you how to love instead of hate. You have to learn how to love instead of hate. And the hate is what got us in the mess that we was in during the transatlantic slave trade all the way up until today. Because when we came out of hate and we demonstrated hate, it eventually had to come back to us. And it came back in the form of the transatlantic slave trade. And not all of our brothers and sisters was actually put in slavery, who was placed in slavery, came from the continent that we know to be Africa, as far as put on ships and brought over here. Many of us was already here. Millions of us was already here. So we have to always keep that in mind as well, because a lot of our brothers and sisters is miseducated on that, to think that the only way and the only reason why people who look like us is here is because we was put on slave ships. And all of us was not placed on slave ships. Many of us was already here before the Europeans even got here, because they're our people. Brother Kendrick, we got another call, man. I hope I didn't take you away from your thought. There is something, you got some last minute thoughts that you want to kick out there? Call it. Just hold on. Don't hang up. I see you calling. Go ahead, Brother Kendrick.
Yeah, I just wanted to say they should also keep in mind that to make a slave, you had to denationalize them. And it's evident in those of us who get incarcerated, because you're legally a slave, though incarcerated. So they take away your name, give you a number, and call you inmate. Denationalization.
That's right. That's right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, brother. I'm looking forward to you to come over the 90s when you finish down at the Rooster Tail. You know,
I sure would be there.
I'm hoping you come drop that. You know, matter of fact, Brother Kendra Seal is the brother when you heard the intro, Remember the Truth? Discover the Truth. That is the brother who is actually the author of that particular song y'all heard when I came on. So that's who y'all listening to right now. Hey, brother, I appreciate you. I'm going to take this next call right here. Caller, you on the air with the Think Tank Show. Please state your name and what city you calling from. I'm talking to you, caller. Turn your television down. I can see now you got a delay. So if you're listening to your television and you're going to respond to your television, you're going to be off. Pay attention to your phone and please turn your television down so it won't be an echo or feedback.
Good evening.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing just fine. First of all, let me say happy birthday to Honorable Noble Drew Ali.
Thank you.
And my name is Crazy Joe.
Crazy Joe?
Yes, sir.
You can't be too crazy. You can't. Hey, listen, brother. You can't be too crazy. You was smart enough and wise enough to say that.
Okay, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay, brother.
The first one is so-called first president.
So-called first
George
president.
Washington.
George Washington.
Those two gentlemen standing on both sides of him, are they bays? And what's the significance? What's the significance of them standing beside him? And the next question is, in Islamic mythology, I would like for you to define what is a jinn. I will hang up and listen.
No.
To your
I don't want you to hang up. I want you to ask that question again about George Washington.
Okay, our so-called first president. George Washington.
Okay.
The two gentlemen standing beside him, are they bays? And what was the significance of them standing beside him? And the second question is, in Islamic mythology.
Okay, let me slow down because you don't have to hang up. We're gonna deal with.
I'm not.
Let's deal with one question at a time, because there's no other callers on the line right now. And your question was, it's a picture of George Washington, who was so-called first president, and there are two brothers standing beside him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you asked me, were they bays?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if they were
bays.
bays.
What's the significance of them standing beside him?
I don't know if they were bays or not. I can't tell you yes or no. I don't know what their name was. I don't know. Not to say that there are not other brothers and sisters out there who do know. And if there is some out there who has some education on this particular question, you feel free to call in and entertain that question.
Okay.
You asked me what was the significance. Now you asked me what was the significance of them standing next to him. Well, I don't know that either. I don't know what the significance was. But I will say this, that the Moors were the first people to acknowledge the United States of America as being a country. We're talking about a sovereign nation, the Moorish Empire. You can trace it back. The first treaty that the United States of America had as a sovereign country was with the Moors, with us. And in order to be a sovereign nation, you have to have another sovereign nation acknowledge you as a sovereign nation and bring you to the table of nations. That's just the law. That's just the way that things. And you talking about ancient law there. That's not something that's modern. So in that respect, and then what I appreciate in your question, you said the so-called first president, George Washington. So within that, there's an indication that that's not necessarily the case, that he was the first president. And I want to entertain that. Then we're gonna go to your second question. You're right. You're right in that question. In that statement in your question, the so-called first president. He was not the first president. How could George Washington have been the first president of the United States or this particular country when he was the general for the army of this particular country before he was even elected to be the president of this particular country. And so the person who appointed this particular person to be George Washington, who was the general of the army of the continental United States of America, was the president. So George Washington could not have been the first president of this particular country. He was the first president of under the Constitution of the United States of America, but he was not the first president of the continental United States when they went through the Revolutionary War, because the president of the United States at that particular time was elected through Congress. So when your particular, actually this is where we got the Electoral College from. Different states had more officers or more Congress people that they were sent to Congress than other states. Some may have 5, some may have 10, some may have had 15. And this is how you have different states have more numbers of votes than other states. They may, the person who is running for president may have the popular vote, but they don't have the Electoral College votes. They don't have the winnings or the numbers of the Electoral College. And that's because different states had different delegates or more delegation or more numbers of delegation than other states. And at that particular time, the Continental Congress, they were placed in office from their respective states, which were the 13 states or the 13 colonies at that particular time. And when they placed them or sent them to the Continental Congress, from the Continental Congress, they will vote who will be the president of the Continental Congress. And the person who was the president of the Continental Congress was actually the president of the Continental United States. And that president of the Continental United States was the one who elected or appointed Mr. George Washington to be the general for the Continental Army of the United States. So this is why when you hear people say George Washington wasn't the first president of the United States, he couldn't have been the first president of the United States when he was appointed to be the general of the Continental Army of the United States by someone. And that had to be the highest office, which was the president. So who was that? And many people say that it was a brother by the name of John Hanson, who was a Moor. Was that enough for you on that first question?
Yes, it was. And okay, and the next question, of course, was in Islamic mythology.
Islamic mythology.
Please define what the name jinn means.
And Islamic
and I want to say this. After you give a definition of the word jinn from an Islamic mythology perspective, spell the word love backwards. All right, young man. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay. Well, we got another call. I'm gonna take this call. Caller, you on air with the Think Tank Show. Please state your name and what city you calling from.
Regina, Detroit, Comcast 91.
How you doing?
And you are right about John Hanson being our first president. He is on the back of a $2 bill, and he sits in the middle with a white wig on. And anybody who has a $2 bill, turn it over and look very cautiously, because you will almost miss him if you're not. I think he sits in the first or second row. He was the first president and ruled the country. He ruled the army. And it was in 1775, I believe, they made him president.
I think it was 1792.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. I know it was the 1700s.
Yes.
I know that. I know it was the 1700s. Yes.
Yes.
But he is on the back of the $2 bills, which they have taken out of circulation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the main reasons why. And George Washington's mother was on a Lifetime magazine many long years ago. I heard she was a black woman, but that's not who they're portraying her to be today.
Yeah, it's a brother out there, one of our scholars, one of our
Mhm.
ancestors, our scholars, by the name of Jay Rogers. And Jay Rogers, he wrote about that sex and races, and I think he wrote also about who were some of what he considered to be black presidents. He was going by that particular theory of one drop of our blood made you one of us, not one of them.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
wrote about that, and he gives a historical account on who were these presidents who had what us as Moorish Americans we refer to as being Asiatic blood in them. But I appreciate your call, sister. And remember, you can come down to 71 Oakman Boulevard in Highland Park, Michigan, Monday from 7 to midnight at Nandi's Knowledge Cafe. That's her new location. And those you don't know that Nandi Knowledge Cafe has a new location. You might go up on Woodward and it's not there, but the sister has opened up a new location at 71 Oakman Boulevard in Highland Park, Michigan. That will be one block west of Hamilton on the south side of Oakman. So, but
Thank you.
I appreciate you calling, sister. But the brother, he asked me a question. I want to entertain this question. You can feel free to stay on the phone, or you can hang up and watch us.
No, I'm going to hang up so you can get some more calls.
Okay. Well, we got 3 lines,
Thank
sister.
you.
They can call in. Thank you too. The brother asked me the definition of jinn. I'm going to say this: adversary. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to say adversary. We all have them. We have them internally, and we have them right here on this planet. We have them in the human flesh, the human experience, human beings, mankind, or kind of a man. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to iterate too much on that particular definition because I don't think that you have to go any further from jinn. But, I mean, adversary. But I think, I don't know. I think your question should have been, who is that jinn? I don't know. I don't know what you was looking for. But I appreciate the question, and I just wanted you to know that I remember the question, and I was going to answer the question. But once again, today we're doing our respects. We're giving our honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was born January the 8th, 1886. And in the state of North Carolina, he was born by the name of Timothy Drew. And we later know him today as Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Moorish Science Temple of America was founded in 1913 AD. But it wasn't the name Moorish Science Temple of America. It was named the Canaanite Temple. And it later was known as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, and then the Moorish National and Divine Movement, and then and then the Moorish Temple of Science, and then we know it today to be the Moorish Science Temple of America. There are many different factions of Moors. There are many different denominations, subgroups of Moorish Science Temple of America and of the teachings that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought. Not everybody stayed under the same leadership of the Moorish Science Temple of America after the passing of Noble Drew Ali in 1929. There are many different factions. There are many different degrees of teaching of Moorish science and Moorish history, etc., etc. And we don't always agree. But one of the things that I think that we can all come to terms with, or we can come to agreement on, is that January the 8th is a very special day for us, the Moors, or the Moorish Americans, here in this Western Hemisphere. And it's going to be a grand occasion. All over this country, Moors, the red fez, the black fez, some might wear white fez, the turbans, etc., etc. They're going to be doing what we consider in the hood the damn thing. So, and they're going to be enjoying themselves, and they're going to be paying homage to, it's like our Christmas. Let's put it that way. Many of you celebrated Christmas December the 25th. Well, January the 8th is that type of special for us. So, but it's not a day that we want to run around and we want to tell people to get drunk, smoke weed, and get high, and eat too much food. We want you to eat. We want you to eat good, but we don't want you to eat too much food, because even gluttony is a sin. When you eating overeating, that's a sin. So it's a holy day. It's a day that you may fast for 7 days, all the way up until our Moorish New Year, which is January the 15th. Some of you may not eat. Some of you may fast on that day, which is beautiful. And we don't have no qualms about none of that. But Noble Drew Ali, when he came in the political system, or he came in the racial hemisphere or atmosphere that he came in at the time that he came, what he got accomplished at that particular time is astronomical. You're talking about over 100,000 people that was a member of this beautiful organization known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, where we had grocery stores, we had our own newspaper, we had barbershops, we had you name it, we had it. Some things that was conducive to us economically. The Moors was a part of that. We had our own farms. We had our own land. A lot of that type of stuff we had, and a lot of that stuff we still have today. We're just split up. We're just, people went their way, went that way. They didn't agree with this leader, didn't agree with that leader, and they went and did their own thing according to their understanding at that particular hour. And this is the reason why we have so many different offshoots, splits, denominations, subgroups, etc., of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And a lot of times it becomes confusing, because we don't know who is who and what is what, because it's always some type of rigmarole about who was the real leader of the Moorish Science Temple of America and who wasn't. Well, January the 8th, we want to put all that to the side, and we just want to enjoy each other. We want to enjoy ourselves on that particular day, because this particular brother would not appreciate us hooping and hollering and arguing about who was right and who was wrong. Because one of the things that he said, the only thing that would surprise me is if you Moors did right. He already know we was going to fuss and fight. We was going to argue. We was going to split up. We was going to go our separate ways, because it has been done every time the holy and divine prophet has came down here, from Abraham to Moses to Jesus, etc. When you look at Judaism, Moses, Judaism, look at the different factions of Judaism. When you look at Abraham, when you look at Muhammad, when Muhammad came, he established the uniting of Islam. And now today you got Sunnis, Shiites, Sufis, etc., etc. When you look at the church, when it was established through the Roman Catholic Church, Roman Catholicism. Then it split off. Constantinople became the capital of the Roman Catholic Church at that particular time, and it was named after Constantine the Great. And it eventually ended up going back to Rome after the war with the Moorish Turks of the Ottoman Empire. And they, went up into Istanbul, or Byzantine, Constantinople, same place. The names it changed from time to time. But even then, they became Methodist and Baptist and Protestant and Episcopalian, Seventh-day Evangelists. You have all these different factions and denominations of Christianity. So there's no difference with us as Moors. We have our different denominations and factions and subgroups. The Nation of Islam. You got some brothers and sisters that follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Some brothers and sisters who follow Levi Kareem. Some brothers and sisters, they may follow the Son of Man. But one thing that they all have in common is their special day of celebration. We don't want nobody to come to any of our celebrations and feel as though that it's about us converting you, or you feel as though that you're out of place. We want you to come and learn who your people are, where you come from, what we have to offer you. Don't let us tell you we have something to offer you. Make us show us what we have to offer you. Don't let nobody out there tell you what they can do for you, or how they can get you saved, or how they can do this, that, and the third. Make them show you how it has helped them. And you analyze that from the top to the bottom, because what the Moorish Science Temple of America has done for me is the very reason why that I'm here right now and been here with y'all for the last 55 minutes. And coming from where I come from, according to the statistics, I'm not even supposed to be here. But I'm here. And that's because at some point in my life, in my time, I took the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple of America seriously. And I applied some things to my life, and I worked it. I used it, and it worked for me, for the betterment of myself. I'm not perfect. I still have my flaws. I have more flaws than a little bit. But I love my brothers and sisters of the Christian community. I love my brothers and sisters of the Judaism community, whether it be Hebrew Israelites, what have you. The Jehovah's Witness community, the Nation of Islam community. This is not about separation. This is about, we want to include everybody into the celebration of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. But I want y'all to find out and ask yourself, why is this man who accomplished what he accomplished in the 1920s is not in your history books? Why down at the Charles H. Wright Museum, they don't have anything about Prophet Noble Drew Ali that I know about? And now if it is something down there about Noble Drew Ali, a statue, a wax doll, or anything, let me know and I'll stand correct myself. But I want to know why this brother is written out of history. Why he's not taught in the schools. Why don't nobody know who Noble Drew Ali is? Not was, who he is. Because just because he's not here in the physical flesh don't mean he still don't exist. Case in point, I'm here. He exists through me. Jesus is, not was, he still exists. Case in point, all my brothers and sisters who love Jesus, they try to the best of their ability to emulate Jesus, to walk in the footprints of Jesus, even the Moorish Americans. See, I want everybody to always remember that the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple of America is for all of those who love Jesus, and for those who think their condition can be better. It ain't about bashing Jesus. We love Jesus. We teach on Jesus. Our main book, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not to be mistaken for the Holy Quran of Mecca. The very teachings, the substance, the essence of that book is about Jesus. These are the 18 missing years of Jesus that's not in your Bible. Y'all, everybody know who studied and they understand how the church was founded and what books was voted on and picked to be placed in the Bible was done by men. And it was some books that they didn't vote to put in that book that we know today to be the Bible. This is a fact. Many of you got to study up on the Nicene Council. Many of you have to do your own research. Just don't be a part of something and you don't know what you're a part of. Don't celebrate Christmas and you don't know why it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Why is Easter not the same day every year? If Jesus rose from the dead on that particular Sunday, why is it not the same day like the day that he was supposedly born, December the 25th? And most of us don't understand because it's based upon the cosmos. It's based upon astrology and astronomy. After the spring equinox, after that first full moon, that first Sunday is going to be Easter. And that's the reason why it's never the same day every year. That's all we saying. We just saying, do your research, study. Don't let nobody tell you about us. Learn for yourself. And all is welcome to be down at the Rooster's Tail from 6 to 10 o'clock Monday and come down to Nani's Knowledge Cafe at 71 Oakman Boulevard, Highland Park, Michigan. And you come down there and ask all the questions you want. But bring a pen and a piece of paper. Because a lot of you not going to be able to retain, in your brain. But we'll be back next Friday. We're going to try to have a few more up in here and bring y'all the things that y'all need to hear. And we're going to continue to celebrate because our celebration lasts for 7 days, from January the 8th to January the 15th, which is our Moorish New Year. And with that, I just want to thank everybody who tuned in, who watched us today, that called in, and I appreciate you. I'm your brother Bay, and you are tuned in to the Think Tank Show, and this is TV 33 WHPR, which is the best station in the nation. And tune in to us next week, same time, same place, from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Salutations. Salute.
Discover the
truth.